with the vehicle? Or what was done with the vehicle? Let me ask that. Do you know what happened with the license plate?
We confiscated the plate as the operator at the time, who we believed to be Mr. Mcoo, had several prior convictions for suspension and operating while intoxicated, requiring a plate confiscation.
Pursuant to state law, you had to take it. Okay. Mayor, may I have a moment?
May. I do have one question. How much time elapsed between the time you were notified that he had left the hospital and when he was located? Do you know?
I believe it was about 40 minutes, Your Honor.
40 minutes?
40, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Officer Corey, Milan, what county is that located?
Well, that's interesting. Half in Monroe County and half in Washtenaw County. The incident itself occurred in Washtenaw County.
Thank you. And that is in the state of Michigan?
Correct.
Milan kind of abuts the two counties, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And Your Honor, I would pass the witness.
All right. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I inquire? Afternoon, officer. My name is Alex Warren Green. I represent Mr. Mcoo in this case.
Yeah.
So you're dispatched for a single vehicle accident, right?
Correct.
And that's at a mobile gas station, and it appears there was an accident from an SUV into the sign, the mobile sign, right?
Correct.
And like you testified on direct examination, there was a 911 call placed, and that person didn't provide a name, did they?
They may have. It is something that I didn't end up following up on.
So you never talked to the caller, did you?
Not directly, no.
And are you aware if anyone talked to that caller?
I am not aware that anyone did.
So as soon as you get there, Mr. Mcoo is on the passenger side of the vehicle, right?
Standing outside. It's on the passenger side.
Okay. And that car was not registered to Mr. Mcoo, was it?
Correct. It was not.
And like you testified on direct examination, he had a wound to his head, right?
Yes.
It's bleeding pretty bad.
Yes.
There was an injury to the front and back of his head, right?
There's photographs of an injury to the back of his head, yes.
Okay.
And the front.
And he appeared to be dazed.
Yes, it was difficult to say if he was out of it due to the head injury or his level of intoxication, maybe the both.
And you didn't conduct the field sobriety test because you were concerned that the head injury you observed might impact the field sobriety test, right?
There was a possibility, yes.
So you testified on direct examination, you saw the windshield was smashed and you saw blood, right?
Correct.
There's a chunk of hair in the windshield, right?
Yes.
You take a picture of that?
Yes. And let me backtrack. Sergeant Mercedes actually took a photograph of it.
And most of the time you're talking to Mr. Mcoo, he was wearing a hat. You recall that, right?
I don't recall that. You may have been.
So it's dark outside, right? And
Is that a yes? I don't think we got it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
It's okay.
Yes, it was dark.
Okay, go ahead.
and there's a significant amount of blood on his face and it's going into his hair, right? Sobriety test, did they?
That's correct.
And after this initial interaction, when, the ambulance arrives, he goes to Trinity Ann Arbor Hospital, right?
Correct.
And did you accompany him in the ambulance or you follow behind?
All behind.
Okay. And you read him his chemical rights at the hospital while he's in the bed, correct?
Correct.
And he refused at 2:51 a.m. Is that
correct?
And after he refuses, you leave the room to go and work on the affidavit for the search warrant, right?
Correct.
And then Mr. Mcoo vanishes.
That is also.
Okay. You didn't see him leave.
I did not.
You had no idea where he was.
Nope.
And like you said, he wasn't handcuffed or in any way restrained to that bed, was he?
He was not.
And there were no officers standing at the door or otherwise supervising that room, were there?
No.
And through your investigation, you determined he's located at an apartment complex at around 3:40 a.m., is that right?
That's what is in the report. I think I listed a time in there. If you want me to look at, refresh my memory,
It would refresh your recollection to look at your report?
it will.
Okay. Your Honor, if I may approach the witness.
I think you guys can.
He's got a copy that was turned over, so if you look at that, if you believe that will refresh your recollection.
Yes, I did. He was located about 3:40 a.m.
Okay. And he's returned to the hospital. The blood draw was completed at 4:28 a.m. And of course, there's two blood draws done. So it's 4:28 a.m. and 4:29 a.m. Does that sound right, officer?
That sounds correct.
Okay. So in an ideal OWI investigation, you want to have eyes on the subject from the time you make the scene until the needle enters the arm, right?
I do, yes.
Okay. One of the reasons you do that is to make sure the subject doesn't consume anything that could impact the blood test, right?
That is correct.
And Mr. Mcoo was unaccounted for nearly an hour in this case, right?
That's correct.
And in your search warrant affidavit, you didn't mention that, did you?
I don't believe so, no.
Thank you for answering my questions, Your Honor. I have nothing further at this time.
Read your.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Corey, were you able to obtain information that the defendant had previously been pulled over by a different police agency operating this car in March of 2023?
I did not.
And after he was recovered and brought back to the hospital, did you have two deputies stand by with him and handcuff him to the gurney?
I handcuffed him myself, but luckily I had a couple of deputies that were free for the moment that were able to watch him while I finished up the search warrant.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything?
Your Honor, if I may, one.
May want to mute your microphone.
Your Honor, just briefly. Thank you. Officer.
Oh, and can I just ask one other question before you, and I'll let you ask your question.
Of course, Your Honor.
The PT, if there's,
Alex muted.
okay, the PBT, are people going to seek admission of that if defense is challenging the results
Yes, Your Honor.
pursuant to the statute?
Correct.
And Your Honor, I understand that the people could rebut that kind of challenge. I'm not sure that we have gotten to that point yet. The case law.
Well, I just want to make sure that if there is going to be a challenge to the results, that under the statute, my understanding is, although these aren't entirely the circumstance under which it happens, but it seems to me an analysis could be made that the PBT would then become admissible. Just so that defense counsel is aware, but you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it. Officer, before Mr. Mcoo was admitted to the hospital, did you yourself search him? Search his person?
That's outside the scope of my redirect, Your Honor.
I'll allow him. Yes, go ahead.
He was wearing a jacket, right?
I believe so, yes.
Did you go through all the pockets of that jacket?
I normally would, yes. I believe I did.
Okay. Officer, when you completed the refusal to submit to chemical test form, in this case, do you recall writing the refusal time as 1:35 military time?
No, I don't recall that.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the refusal to submit to chemical test form you completed?
I would. I think
Yes.
things that I did. I don't recall why I would have put that time there.
Well, again, officer, thank you for answering my questions. Your Honor, I have nothing further at this time.
All right. Ms. Lundy.
Officer Corey, you would agree with me that this says refusal date, but it does not say refusal time, correct? It just says military time?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, Your Honor, in anticipation of an argument that the blood result is not accurate, I would ask a question about the PBT, but if that argument's not going to be made, then I don't need to.
Your Honor, I would object to any mention or admission of the results of a preliminary breath test in this matter. I'm not sure that I have raised an argument that regarding its accuracy or regarding a rising blood alcohol level or anything like that. I don't think I've opened the door to that.
Well, I don't think you have. I just want to make sure we're prepared for the argument. But if that argument is going to be made, then I'm going to let the people question as to that. But
Your Honor, I don't anticipate making an argument regarding a rising blood alcohol level or anything to that effect at this point.
well, but are you going to make the argument that the blood alcohol result at the time of the test, well, I'll just do it this way, is it lower or higher than the,
Your Honor, I intend to make arguments on what has already been stated on the record, and I'm not going to.
what does that mean?
From the defense, I don't anticipate any further questioning regarding the blood alcohol results from either the lab or the preliminary blood test.
Okay, again, that was very cagey the way that was put, but I'll just put it this way. What I will do, Ms. Lundy, is I will not permit the questioning at this point. However, if it is raised in argument, I may entertain a motion by the people to reopen their proofs to take testimony regarding that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
I have nothing further.
All right. You may step down, sir. Thank you. Yeah, shut down. I'm not done. So the system went down?
Yeah, it says that my calls are still recording, but.
We don't
the
know.
Software shuts down,
I'm not gonna take a chance. Do we know when it happened just now?
just now.
Just now, okay. What the court's gonna do is court's gonna stand in recess. We need to take it back up.
Understood. Thank you.
It's worked too hard today. Court's in recess.
All right. What's the name? District Court for County Washington, State of Michigan, is now back in session with the Honorable Judge, Jason Richardson.
You may be seated. Call him out here. fear of angering anybody. I don't think I've seen public defenders work this late. Anyway, court recalls the case, People versus Mcoo.
Ash Phelps for people.
Alex Warren Green on behalf of Mr. Mcoo. Mr. Mcoo, could you state your name again, please?
Daniel Mcoo.
All right.
Your Honor, I think we had finished with our officer, Officer Corey. I don't have any additional witnesses.
All right. Go ahead. You can have your conversation. You might want to mute the mic.
Your Honor, no witnesses from the defense.
All right. I have a motion.
Your Honor, I move to bind over as to count 1 and let counts, I think it's 2 and 3 on this one follow. I do believe you presented sufficient evidence to establish by probable cause a circumstantial case that the defendant was the operator of a motor vehicle on the date and time in question at the location in question, that he did have an alcohol content of 0.08 grams or more. Your Honor, the people were able to present evidence that there was a vehicle crash, that the windshield of that vehicle had been hit from the inside. There was blood and there was hair consistent with the defendant's hair. And the defendant had a head wound on the front of his head. And that, along with being at the scene of the crash, I do believe is sufficient circumstantial evidence to establish by probable cause that this matter should proceed to trial. I'll reserve any further arguments for rebuttal.
Your Honor, the defense would object to bind over in this matter. In making the bind over decision, we'd ask the court to consider the lack of direct evidence linking Mr. Mcoo to operating that vehicle. Your Honor, I have nothing further at this time. For the record, we are objecting to bind over.
I think there is certainly, when one looks at the exhibits, particularly exhibits 1, 2, 3, are the vehicle in which the defendant is around, which has crashed into a pole, and that the pole, quite frankly, did not give way much. And then what also would establish then there's a second piece of establishing the defendant was operating that vehicle, or People's Exhibits 4, specifically 4, which is clear indication of the spider webbing, and what Officer Corey testified to are the damage to the windshield, the circular damage above the driver's side, to the window, as indicated, a circular pattern, not or similar to certainly what this court has seen over the years of individuals who are unrestrained in vehicles who are then involved in a crash, alcohol related or not, where their head strikes the windshield. And then exhibits 7, 8, 9, and then also 10 that show blood and also injuries to the cranial area or the head area of the defendant, along also with Officer Corey's testimony regarding the hair, although not analyzed, but certainly the color, texture, hair, his observations regarding the hair that is in the windshield, all certainly point to and would give rise to probable cause that the defendant was operating that motor vehicle at the time of that crash. Additionally, then there is testimony regarding blood test results, which then occurred at the hospital later that day, indicating a blood alcohol content of 0.127, which, absent anything else, could be used to presume that was his blood alcohol content at the time of the operation of the motor vehicle. so that the record is clear, even to the extent the defendant's unlawful escape from custody at the time from the hospital may go to the weight to be given to that blood alcohol result, but does not negate that blood alcohol result. The court is sufficiently satisfied that people have sustained their burden of showing by probable cause that the defendant did operate a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or intoxicants. So therefore, for those reasons, the court would bind the defendant over on count 1 with the stipulations to the previous convictions of the defendant, with counts 2 and 3 following.
Your Honor, do you want to proceed on the arraignment?
Yes, let's just do that now.
We would waive formal reading of the information, stand mute.
Defendant having waived formal reading, standing mute, court will enter a not guilty plea as to all 3 counts. Pretrial in this case will be
October 9th at 1:30 with Judge Slay.
October 9th, 2025, 1:30 before Judge Slay. That case bond will continue.
Can I find information, Your Honor?
Yes, you may. Have her exhibits back. Oh, you had an extra that you.
I had extra information.
That's fine. Court also now calls the case of People versus Daniel Mcoo. That's case 25F30979.
As well as for the people.
Alex Warren Green on behalf of Mr. Mcoo. Mr. Mcoo, could you please state your name for the court?
Daniel Mcoo.
All right. Ready to proceed on this case?
We are, Your Honor. Prior to beginning, I will inform the court, and I did inform defense counsel, I do intend to, if the proofs bear it out, to add a count of receiving an obstructing officer. And I believe defense counsel is aware of that. That would be contrary to 75081D as in dog 1.
Okay.
Right.
And Your Honor, to also provide notice of this, notice of removal pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1455. This case has also been removed to the United States District Court of Eastern District of Michigan under case number 25-12441 for Fourth Amendment violations along with others.
This court has no knowledge, as I last case, of any removal, has not been notified of removal, and so has not been presented anything with removal, nor anything presented which would show a procedure in which the state action would be removed to federal court. So for those reasons, while you want to say it all the time on the record,
Yeah, that's it.
to the extent it's a motion of any type, that's denied. You may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Colin Chain.
Sir, please come forward and be sworn.
Take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall be God? State your first and last name for the record, please.
Colin Chain, COLLINCHENBY.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, how are you employed?
Michigan State Police is a trooper,
How long have you been employed as a trooper with Michigan State Police?
about 2.5 years.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience before you were a trooper?
I do not.
Were you still employed on or about July the 3rd, 2025?
Yeah.
What were you working that day?
That was road patrol.
And where were you road patrol at?
Washington.
Do you recall what part of Washtenaw County you were doing road patrol at about 7:45 in the morning? Were you traveling westbound on I-94?
Yes.
And is that location in Washtenaw County, state of Michigan?
Correct.
Did you notice any vehicles while you were traveling westbound on I-94?
Yes.
What did you see?
Coming up here, westbound on 994, I observed a red sedan that looked like it was traveling faster than the rest of the traffic on the freeway.
What did you do?
I caught up to it, and when I got closer to it, my radar picked up the speed reading.
And what was it reading?
So 90 miles per hour.
What did you do next?
I got behind the vehicle and activated my overhead light to conduct a traffic stop on the vehicle.
What happened after you activated your overhead lights?
Shortly after, the vehicle merged over to the shoulder, got down to around 40 miles an hour and rolled for half mile to a mile before coming to a complete stop at about 40 miles per hour.
What happened after the vehicle came to a complete stop?
I approached the vehicle, spoke to the sole occupant of the vehicle, and told him I was Trooper Ching with Michigan State Police and requested his driver's license.
Did you see what position that person was inside of the vehicle? Was he operating the vehicle?
Correct.
Do you see the person that was operating that vehicle in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you tell me where he's sitting and what he's wearing, please?
He's sitting to your right in a green jumpsuit.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness identify this defendant?
No objection, Your Honor.
Record shall so reflect.
When you made contact with the defendant and asked him for his driver's license, what happened next? Did he say anything to you?
He did.
What did he say to you?
I can't exactly recall what it was that he said, but somewhere early on he advised me that I did not have the right to stop him. And actually, right after I asked for his driver's license, he asked what my reason for the stop was.
What did you say?
I told him that I observed him on my radar. I observed his speed on my radar that was over the speed limit.
What happened after you told him that?
I requested his driver's license again.
Did he give it to you?
He did not.
What happened after he didn't give you the driver's license?
He stated that I did not have the right to stop him because he was traveling in a private capacity and not a commercial capacity.
What did you do?
I advised him that he is required to provide a driver's license at the request of a peace officer.
Did he provide you a driver's license?
He did not.
Did you observe anything about the vehicle's license plate?
The vehicle's license plate did not look familiar to me. I had not had a chance to actually run the plate.
Okay. So while you're at the side of the car and you're speaking with him, are you continuing to request his driver's license?
Multiple times.
Is he ever providing it to you?
No.
How long do you think, well, I want to ask that question. As this is going on, what are you doing?
While I'm speaking with him, I requested for back because he's not being very compliant.
You asked for what?
Backup.
Backup? Okay. At some point, did you return back to your vehicle?
I did.
And what did you do when you got back there?
I attempted to run the plate. Did not see that the plate existed.
About the vehicle.
Not on the plate.
How did you get information?
I read the
Questions the officer about the crash, the defendant's head injuries, the blood and hair found inside the vehicle, and a critical gap in the timeline. Mcoo had been taken to the hospital after the crash, but investigators later discovered that he had left while the officer was preparing a search warrant. The defense argues that this missing period could raise questions about the reliability of the blood alcohol evidence. The court, however, finds enough circumstantial evidence to establish probable cause and binds Mcoo over on the OWI charge. Then another case begins, where Mcoo allegedly tells a Michigan State police trooper that the officer had no authority to stop him because he was traveling in a private capacity. The trooper later discovers a highly unusual license plate marked Diplomat and non-expiring. What happens next makes this courtroom exchange impossible to ignore.